Comrades, colleagues, it is with great pleasure that I stand before you today, alongside our extreme leaders across our continent, men, women, youth, our friends, our allies, leaders from the Global Union Federations, our partners across Africa and the world. Immense great pleasure to stand before you to say that our gathering is dedicated, as always, to the pursuit of social justice and economic equity. Comrades, for the last 14 years, we have been organizing the New Year School. Madam Minister, the New Year School is a school dedicated to leaders of the African Trade Union movement across, from the sub-regional to national to sectorial enterprise level, wherever we can find them, men and women. And I will say this consciously, with bias for men, for women and youth, to also access working class education. The New Year School is dedicated to building consciousness in African workers. Consciousness to understand that what we see in the political economy of the landscape of our continent, they are not by accident. They are man-made. More critically, they are market-made. They are made from the forces extensively from neoliberal tendencies that seeks always to drive profits over people. And to say that rather than just lament it as working men and women, it is incumbent on us to take action to reverse, to counter progressively these issues. And to do so, we have systematically designed this initiative. I told you, Honorable Minister, and the colleagues are here, Comrade Blakes has led by example by saying that past leaders of ZCTU, they are always part of this process, they recognize them, they appreciate them. At Ituc-Africa is also our tradition, Madam Minister. This initiative, that is the 14th edition, was a brainchild of my predecessor, our immediate past General Secretary, Comrade Kwesi Aduamankwa. Comrade Kwesi, please, can you start? And that, before he left, Comrade Blakes, so that you also know it, this initiative of our decision to rotate was also taken while my immediate past General Secretary was still in office, to say, no, if it comes to integration agenda of this continent, our people must know their continent. And in appreciating the complexity, the dynamics of their continent, then they can be able to better engage. And we agreed together that indeed, this is worth doing. And as a policy, henceforth, comrades, this New Year School will be moving across the continent in a way that everybody will feel included, and the ownership will be deepened, and we believe that the sustainability will be long-term. Comrade Kwesi Aduamankwa, we want to say thank you. Comrades, because Comrade Blakes has said half of the things I want to say, I will just reduce it to say, and then I know that my president will then give the message of why workers, African workers' contribution to transformation. She will come to give that essence very well. Colleagues, the essence of this school is to challenge us, to say when we go back home, what is it that we can do to contribute to improving our societies? That as workers, we must seek partnership. It's translating it openly into French there. To seek partnership with state actors, non-state actors, and Comrade Blakes, thank you, you have said it very well. It could be the business of opposition. We are, as trade union, organized labor, we are not opposition. But we are a critical group that is conscious of the actions and inactions of government. And when our government drop the ball, we call them to action. And where they do well, we will commend them. And where they need our support, we will not be lacking. We'll be very ready to do that. And that is the message to participants for this New Year's school. The word of work is tough. From the moment of COVID-19, it has become tougher. And then now with the ascendancy of the fourth industrial revolution, we are in uncharted waters. The situation is again not for us to lament, raise our hands in the air, and say we are hopeless. We are not. What is it we can do together to turn the tide is why we are here for the next 4 days, Madam Minister. And in practical demonstration of it, our contribution to transformation. In Nairobi, Kenya last year, late November, we launched a campaign on the debt crisis. For close to a decade, we have been actively campaigning on the issue of illicit financial flows. In other words, monies taken from the continent that deprives our continent from resource mobilization opportunities. But what we saw clearly was that debt was doing far much more aggressive damage, as we see with illicit financial flows. And we decided, together with our allies, progressive allies, Pan-African Union lawyers, PALU, Afrodad, with Femnet, with Nawi Collective, with Trust Africa, we said to ourselves, what is it we can do to engage this issue very critically? We launched this campaign as part of the response in November. Madam Chairperson, Madam Commissioner, Madam Minister, apologies. We launched this campaign in November, and we said in practical terms, every city we go to, we will demonstrate the essence of this campaign. Which is why, like Comrade Blake said, I am told this information is more for the Zambian community. This is not an exclusively trade union event. It's an African campaign. And so we are inviting all Zambians across walks of lives on the 21st of March for employment and critically for addressing even more concerns that affect women. And we are saying, how do we revise all of this together? We are conscious that it's not solely the problem of creditors. Our governments have been complicit. With COVID-19, we saw a lot of our government, they were actually borrowing to steal. I repeat, they were borrowing to steal. Because we saw a spike in the borrowing. But when we look at the ground, we didn't see the reflection of the borrowing on the ground. It meant that those monies were going to private pockets. And why we are angry is because the creditors knew that these persons were borrowing to steal. But because of the profits they will make, they didn't mind the conditions under which they were borrowing. And we know the essence of generational poverty and indebtedness that will arise. So this campaign is critical, it's demonstration of trade union education for action. This is the message we have brought. Trade union education for action. Lastly, an African woman inspired us greatly. Wangara Maathai said, in the course of history, there comes a time when humanity is called upon to shift to a new level of consciousness, to reach a higher moral ground. She concluded emphatically that that time is now. The time to make change happen for our people, real change. Because, Honorable Minister, our people are losing faith in democracy because they are not seeing the change. And we think by the time we begin to do things differently, the apathy towards democracy will begin to turn positive. Finally, Madam Minister, I have been directed by participants to pass these two messages to your government directly, in the sense that anywhere we can, we will continue this campaign because we are a campaigning organization. that when it comes to the issue of women, when it comes to the issue of men, when it comes to the issue of a safe and secure workplace, instruments, policies, including standards, as they were, are very important. We have been campaigning in Zambia for a while for the adoption, for the ratification, for the domestication of Convention 190 on harassment and violence at work convention. We are optimistic, Madam Minister, that before the end of this year, if I don't want to railroad the Zambian government, I will have said before we end the International Labour Conference in June, that Zambia, how do we use that word? We present, come the coffee. There is a word for it. Eh? Deposit. Thank you, that is the word. We deposit the instrument of ratification to the DG of the ILO. We are optimistic that will happen. Secondly, delegates have asked me first to appreciate you, yourself, because the ZCTU told us of how you supported them in making this happen. And they informed us that when we requested that our people be allowed to secure visa without making application, without the rigors, that you accord them visa on arrival. And through your help and facilitation with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, that this was graciously approved. We want to say thank you. But participants said it shouldn't end and stop there. They are saying, why do we need to even apply? Why do we even need visa on arrival on our continent? The city, Zambia. I like the way Comrade Joy Vene dramatized it. He's an excellent guy. And he was very correct. I called him, it was on a Sunday morning, Comrade Joy. And I assume I had come back from church. You are 2 hours ahead of me in Lome. And I asked if you can do this. I won't add to it because exactly the way you said it, it was a response. But like our people will say, the rest is history. And we are here today. I want to, on behalf of my president, our leadership, appreciate the ZCTU. Comrades, they have put immense resources at our disposal for this conference. And there is nothing that works best when people are excited about an initiative. Their excitement has boiled some of us over. We are so happy that they could be doing this with so much excitement. ZCTU officials who have helped us tirelessly. I know some of you are still at the airport as we speak because participants are still arriving. We want to say a very big thank you to all of you. Comrade Kati, you have led your team very well. Thank you very, very, very much.